Have you ever wondered why some relationships leave you feeling drained and unappreciated, no matter how much effort you put in? We all crave connection and assume that the people in our lives care about us. But the hard truth is that not everyone who smiles at you or says they care is truly rooting for you. Some people are only there for what you can provide, not for who you are. Recognizing the signs of those who don't genuinely care can help you guard your heart and focus on building healthy, meaningful relationships. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more content that helps you grow stronger in wisdom and peace. Let's start with a behavior that's easy to overlook but cuts deep. People who only show up when they need something from you. At first, you might convince yourself that they turn to you because they trust you. But after a while, you notice a pattern. They call or visit when they need advice, a favor, or a sympathetic ear. When the roles are reversed and you need support, they're nowhere to be found. This isn't friendship, it's convenience. Relationships built on convenience aren't mutual. They're draining and one-sided. Proverbs 19 verse 4 puts it plainly. Wealth attracts many friends, but a poor person is deserted by their friends. True loyalty isn't based on what you have to give, it's based on love, trust, and respect. Take note of who stays in your life when you have nothing to offer but yourself. Those are the people who genuinely care. Another sign of someone who doesn't truly care is when they downplay your achievements. Have you ever shared exciting news, a promotion, a new accomplishment, or even a personal breakthrough only to be met with indifference or a dismissive comment like, "Oh, that's nice"? Or worse, they turn the conversation back to themselves, saying something like, "Well, I've done something like that before." Instead of celebrating your victory, they make it about them. Why does this happen? Often, it's because your success reminds them of their own perceived shortcomings. Instead of being inspired by your growth, they choose to downplay your progress to make themselves feel better. But true friends don't dim your light. They help it shine even brighter. They're the ones clapping the loudest for you, not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to see you thrive. C.S. Lewis once said, "Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, 'What? You too.'" Authentic friends share in your joy because they understand that your wins don't diminish their value, they enhance the friendship. If someone consistently struggles to celebrate your milestones, it's a sign that they're not in your corner the way you deserve. Now let's talk about constant criticism. There's a difference between constructive feedback and relentless fault-finding. Constructive feedback is meant to help you grow. It comes from a place of care and respect. It's honest, thoughtful, and given with kindness. But someone who constantly criticizes you without offering any support isn't trying to help you, they're trying to control you. They point out every flaw, amplify your mistakes, and subtly undermine your confidence. This behavior isn't love, it's manipulation. Their goal is often to make you second-guess yourself, so you'll stay small and dependent on their approval. Proverbs 16 verse 24 reminds us, "Gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones." The people who care about you will speak words that heal and uplift, even when they're offering correction. They won't use harshness or judgment to keep you from growing. If someone's words consistently make you feel worthless rather than motivated, that's not constructive criticism, it's emotional sabotage. Another point to reflect on is why we often tolerate these behaviors for so long. We hold on to unhealthy relationships because we want to believe the best in people. We make excuses for their actions, thinking they'll change or hoping things will improve. But in doing so, we compromise our peace and self-worth. Discerning who genuinely cares about you isn't about becoming bitter, it's about valuing yourself enough to set boundaries. You have the right to protect your peace and invest your energy in people who see your worth. As you reflect on this, remember that it's not selfish to set boundaries, it's wise. Life is too short to spend it feeling used, undervalued, or drained. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who are there for you in both good times and bad, and who celebrate your wins wholeheartedly. There's more to discuss, so stick with us as we continue to uncover more signs that someone may not have your best interests at heart. Let's continue reflecting on the signs of those who don't genuinely care about you. Sometimes, it's not the grand betrayals that hurt the most, it's the small, consistent actions that chip away at your peace. Recognizing these patterns isn't about holding grudges. It's about protecting yourself and fostering healthier connections. Another red flag to watch for is when someone consistently disregards your boundaries. Healthy relationships are built on respect, and boundaries are not meant to shut people out. They're meant to preserve your peace, time, and emotional well-being. But when someone ignores your boundaries, pressures you to do things you're uncomfortable with, or guilts you for saying no, that's a clear sign they prioritize their needs over your well-being. Think about this. Have you ever set a boundary, whether it was needing alone time, saying no to an invitation, or asking for respect in conversations, only to be met with comments like, "Oh, come on, don't be so uptight," or "I can't believe you're saying no to me after everything"? This type of response isn't love, it's manipulation. They're trying to make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. Respecting boundaries is an essential part of any relationship. As C.S. Lewis said, "You can't go on being a good egg forever. You must either hatch or go bad." Boundaries help you grow into the best version of yourself. True friends will honor your requests, understanding that your no doesn't mean rejection, it means self-care. In contrast, people who push, test, or ignore your limits are showing you that they don't respect your autonomy. When someone continuously crosses your boundaries, it's a sign that they don't see you as an equal, they see you as someone to be controlled. Relationships should make you feel safe, not suffocated. Similarly, be wary of those who engage in gossip. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. When someone betrays your trust by sharing your personal struggles or spreading rumors, it's more than a mistake, it's a reflection of their character. Gossip isn't harmless chatter, it's a form of betrayal that undermines your dignity. And here's a truth we sometimes don't want to admit. If they're comfortable gossiping to you about others, they're probably gossiping about you to someone else. Proverbs 16 verse 28 teaches that a perverse person stirs up conflict and a gossip separates close friends. This verse highlights the destructive power of gossip. True friends don't spread your secrets, they protect your reputation, even in your absence. Loyalty isn't just about being there for someone during tough times. It's also about defending their name when they're not around to defend themselves. Another form of betrayal that can be just as exhausting is emotional dependence. Have you ever been around someone who seems to drain your energy? They may not be gossiping or blatantly disrespecting you, but after every interaction, you feel emotionally depleted. These individuals often unload their problems onto you without offering any mutual support. They rarely, if ever, ask how you're doing or offer encouragement. Instead, they magnify their struggles and expect you to carry their burdens. While it's important to be compassionate, it's equally important to protect your own emotional health. There's a difference between being a supportive friend and being someone's emotional dumping ground. True care involves reciprocity, both giving and receiving. Philippians 2 verse 4 reminds us to look not only to our own interests but also to the interests of others. Notice how it emphasizes balance. If someone's problems always take center stage, leaving you feeling invisible, that's not a friendship, it's emotional exploitation. You have the right to protect your energy. When you're constantly pouring into others without being replenished, you'll eventually run empty. The right people will pour back into you. They'll listen to your struggles, celebrate your wins, and uplift you when you feel low. Relationships should fill your soul, not drain it. Recognizing these patterns doesn't mean you have to cut people off with bitterness. Instead, it's about making intentional decisions about where your energy goes. Forgiveness and boundaries can coexist. You can forgive someone for their behavior without giving them access to your peace again. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from resentment, while boundaries ensure you don't repeat the same cycle of hurt. Take a moment to reflect. Are there people in your life who repeatedly dismiss your boundaries, gossip about you, or leave you feeling emotionally exhausted? If so, it may be time to reevaluate those relationships. You deserve connections that bring you joy, not constant stress. As we continue to uncover the signs of people who don't genuinely care about you, it's important to remember that recognizing these behaviors isn't about cutting people off out of spite, it's about making space for relationships that uplift, nurture, and bring you peace. Life is too precious to be spent on connections that drain you rather than strengthen you. Another key sign of someone who doesn't truly care is unreliability. These individuals often make promises they have no intention of keeping. They tell you what you want to hear at the moment, assuring you that they'll show up or help when you need them. But when the time comes, they're nowhere to be found. Perhaps they cancel at the last minute or simply forget altogether. And when you confront them, they're full of excuses or half-hearted apologies. Unreliability isn't just a minor annoyance, it's a breach of trust. Relationships, whether they're friendships, partnerships, or family bonds, are built on the foundation of trust and consistency. When someone repeatedly lets you down, they're sending you a clear message. Your time, feelings, and needs aren't a priority to them. Proverbs 25 verse 19 offers a powerful analogy. Trusting in a treacherous person in times of trouble is like a bad tooth or a foot that slips. In other words, leaning on unreliable people during difficult times can leave you feeling unsupported and vulnerable, just like a wobbly foundation gives way beneath your feet. While it's natural to want to believe in people's good intentions, consistent actions speak louder than occasional kind words. Reliable friends don't just make promises, they follow through. They understand that their commitment to you matters, and that reliability is a form of respect. If someone constantly lets you down, it may be time to reconsider how much emotional weight you place on that connection. Another sign to be mindful of is when someone isn't genuinely happy for you. Have you ever shared an accomplishment you were proud of, only to be met with indifference, criticism, or even jealousy? Instead of celebrating your success, they might respond with something like, "Well, I've done something bigger," or they might minimize your achievement altogether. This type of behavior stems from insecurity. Your success can feel like a reminder of what they feel they lack. Instead of feeling inspired by your growth, they see it as a competition, and rather than clapping for you, they find ways to dim your light. True friends, however, find joy in your joy. They don't need to understand every detail of your journey to celebrate your wins. They cheer because they care about your happiness. Philippians 2 verse 3 advises us, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves." This verse highlights that true care flows from a place of humility, where your success is seen not as a threat, but as something worthy of genuine celebration. If someone can't be happy for you, they're revealing more about their insecurities than your worth. Also, pay close attention to those who turn every conversation back to themselves. In healthy relationships, conversations are a two-way street. Both people feel seen, heard, and valued. But some people have a way of steering every discussion toward their own problems, achievements, or opinions. You could be sharing a personal struggle or exciting news, and suddenly the focus shifts to them. Instead of asking questions or showing empathy, they redirect the spotlight. Over time, this behavior can leave you feeling invisible and unimportant. People who care about you will make room for your voice. They'll actively listen, not just wait for their turn to speak. They'll engage with your experiences and emotions because they value you as a person, not just as an audience for their stories. When someone constantly dominates conversations, it's not a relationship, it's a monologue. True connection comes from mutual sharing and support, not self-centeredness. As you reflect on these patterns, consider how they've affected your emotional well-being. Have you ever left a conversation feeling unheard or used? It's exhausting to be in relationships where your feelings are dismissed, your successes are downplayed, and your needs are unmet. You deserve better. It's also worth noting that some people may not even realize the impact of their behavior. That's why setting boundaries is so important. It communicates your needs and expectations clearly. But if someone continues to disregard your feelings despite your honest attempts to address the issue, they're showing you their true colors. As the saying goes, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. You don't have to tolerate relationships that leave you feeling unseen and unappreciated. Your worth isn't determined by how many people are in your life, it's determined by how well those people love and respect you. Surround yourself with people who pour into you, who clap for you in your victories, and who stand by you in your hardest moments. As we continue exploring the signs of those who don't genuinely care about you, let's take a moment to reflect on why it's so important to recognize these behaviors. Relationships are meant to enrich our lives, not drain us of our energy and joy. The more we identify who supports us and who holds us back, the more space we create for the right people to enter our lives. One of the clearest signs that someone doesn't care about you is when they make everything about control. These individuals don't just cross your boundaries, they dismiss them entirely. They may try to manipulate you with guilt or pressure you until you give in to their demands. When you set a boundary, whether it's declining a last-minute favor or taking time for yourself, they respond as though your boundary is an act of betrayal. They may say things like, "I thought you cared about me," or "After all I've done for you, you're really going to say no?" This form of emotional manipulation isn't care, it's control disguised as closeness. True friends don't test your boundaries to see how far they can push. Instead, they respect your limits because they value you as a whole person, not just as someone who meets their needs. Boundaries are an expression of self-respect, not selfishness. When you set healthy limits, you're making it clear that your time, energy, and emotional peace matter. As C.S. Lewis wrote, "We must learn to love fully without losing ourselves in the process." When someone ignores your boundaries, they're telling you that their comfort is more important than your well-being. The right people will honor your boundaries and even encourage you to stand firm. Another sign of someone who doesn't genuinely care is their lack of empathy during your struggles. While some people vanish when you need them, others stick around, but only to highlight their own problems. Imagine opening up about something painful, hoping for comfort or advice, and instead being met with, "That's rough, but I had it worse." Instead of listening and offering support, they shift the focus to their own challenges. This response isn't compassion, it's selfishness. True empathy doesn't try to compete for who has suffered more. Instead, it creates space for you to feel seen and understood. We've all encountered people like this, the ones who turn every vulnerable moment into an opportunity to gain attention. And if you've experienced this, you know how invalidating it can feel. Genuine friends will sit with you in your pain without making it about themselves. They'll offer a listening ear and a compassionate heart. As Romans 12 verse 15 teaches, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, and mourn with those who mourn." The people who care will be present with you, whether you're celebrating a victory or navigating a loss. When someone consistently dismisses your struggles to center their own, they're showing a lack of genuine concern. Now, let's address an even deeper betrayal when someone talks about you behind your back. Gossip isn't just idle chatter, it's a sign of disrespect and disloyalty. When someone you trusted shares your personal struggles with others or twists your words for their own entertainment, it's a clear sign that they don't value your trust. Proverbs 16 verse 28 warns us, "A perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends." Gossip doesn't just damage reputations, it breaks bonds that took years to build. And remember this, if someone feels comfortable gossiping to you about others, they're likely gossiping about you to someone else. True friends defend your character when you're not around. They don't stand by silently when your name is being dragged through the mud. If someone constantly stirs up drama or thrives on sharing secrets that aren't theirs to tell, it's time to question their place in your life. Loyalty isn't just shown in public, it's revealed in private when no one is looking. Lastly, let's talk about emotional energy. Have you ever noticed that some people leave you feeling drained after every interaction? It's not because you've had a deep, meaningful conversation, it's because they've offloaded their negativity onto you without giving anything back. These individuals are often referred to as energy vampires for a reason. They don't come to build or encourage, they come to take. They fill conversations with complaints, self-pity, or unnecessary drama, and they rarely offer support when you need it. Of course, it's important to be there for the people you love during tough times. But there's a significant difference between supporting someone through a hard season and being someone's constant emotional crutch. Healthy relationships involve mutual care. As Galatians 6 verse 2 says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ." However, this doesn't mean carrying someone's burdens to the point where your own well-being suffers. The right people will be aware of your emotional limits and will pour back into you, not just take from you. Reflect for a moment. Do you feel energized or exhausted after spending time with the people in your life? If you find yourself emotionally depleted, It might be time to set clearer boundaries or even walk away from relationships that have become one-sided. You can be kind, empathetic, and understanding while still protecting your peace. Remember, you don't have to accept every invitation to emotional exhaustion. You have the right to protect your energy and surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who weigh you down. As we reach the final part of this reflection on the signs of people who don't genuinely care about you, it's important to remind yourself that your time, energy, and love are valuable. You deserve to be surrounded by people who cherish you, not those who drain, dismiss, or deceive you. Recognizing unhealthy patterns isn't about closing your heart. It's about making room for the right people who genuinely care and contribute to your growth and happiness. The last, but certainly not least, sign to consider is when someone consistently makes you feel unworthy. These individuals may not criticize you openly, but they subtly plant seeds of doubt through their actions or lack thereof. They may fail to show up during important moments in your life or act indifferent when you share your dreams and goals. Instead of encouraging you, they leave you questioning your worth. Over time, this silent indifference can be just as damaging as outright betrayal. When you surround yourself with people who make you feel small, it becomes harder to believe in your own potential. True friends make you feel valued simply for being who you are. They don't need you to prove your worth or earn their loyalty. They choose to stand with you in both the quiet and celebratory moments. As Proverbs 17 verse 17 says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity." The people who genuinely care for you will not only celebrate your successes, but also sit with you in your sorrow without needing anything in return. If someone constantly makes you feel like an afterthought rather than a priority, it's time to reassess that relationship. Another crucial aspect to consider is how people show up when times are tough. It's easy to be present when everything is smooth sailing. But what about when life becomes messy and uncertain? The real test of someone's care is how they act when there's nothing to gain and when things get difficult. Are they there to support you, or do they distance themselves when the situation isn't convenient? In contrast, the people who care will offer their presence even when they don't have the answers. Sometimes, they won't say much, they'll just be there, holding space for your emotions. Their commitment to you isn't rooted in convenience, it's rooted in love. They understand that showing up is one of the greatest gifts you can offer to someone who's struggling. In addition to being reliable, real friends speak life into you. They remind you of your worth when you've forgotten it, and encourage you when you feel discouraged. Their words bring peace, not anxiety. Ephesians 4 verse 29 teaches us to speak only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. If the people in your life make you feel more burdened than uplifted, ask yourself, are these relationships strengthening me or holding me back? It's also important to remember that the right people will respect your journey and your pace. They won't rush you or expect you to be perfect. Instead, they'll walk alongside you, offering grace and understanding. Meanwhile, those who don't care will often become impatient when your path doesn't align with their expectations or when you can no longer meet their needs. They may even try to make you feel guilty for setting boundaries or pursuing your dreams. This is why guarding your heart is essential, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Proverbs 4 verse 23 reminds us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart is the wellspring of your emotions, your purpose, and your resilience. Protecting it doesn't mean building walls, it means discerning who is worthy of your vulnerability. Finally, don't be afraid to let go of toxic relationships to make space for healthier ones. Some people are only meant to be in our lives for a season. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them or wish them harm. It simply means you're prioritizing your peace and well-being. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone fully while still choosing to step away from the dynamic that caused you pain. Think of your life as a garden. To make room for new growth, you sometimes need to remove the weeds that choke out the healthy plants. The same is true for relationships. By letting go of what drains you, you create space for new connections that nourish and uplift you. As we wrap up, remember this. You are worthy of relationships that bring out the best in you. You deserve people who celebrate your wins, stand by you during your losses, and respect your boundaries. Life is too short to spend it feeling undervalued, unseen, or used. Prioritizing your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary for living a joyful, purposeful life. If today's message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know which points spoke to you the most or how you've navigated difficult relationships in your life. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us for more reflections on building healthier, more fulfilling connections. Thank you for being here. Your time matters, your heart matters, and your story matters. Let's continue walking this journey together. Remember, you are stronger than you think, and you are worthy of love and respect. Stay well, stay kind, and most importantly, stay true to yourself